Wow, 227, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 227 of the Hotbox Show, coming to you live and unpredictable from the Hotbox studio here at the Jazz Farm. We've had a very, very busy week here. We've had the students from agri-colleges here using the Jazz Farm as their farm classroom. We have Nico Vorobov from... not fresh out of Russia, but he is originally from Russia via the UK, a vice journalist in the house today. We're going to be chatting to him a bit later. There's been so much news that today I actually sent a message to a friend and I said, what we need is a war room. Okay, we need a war room where we've got this huge big wall like you see in the movies. We've got all of these pictures up and bits of string and sticky notes and, you know, like when they're trying to catch...
But we're Dutch people, can we call it the peace room?
We can call it the peace room. What a good idea.
And on either side of the door, you can have the fingers, you know, like...
Yeah, exactly.
Something.
So around the table tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I have Charles, who's looking resplendent in his Dank Pack t-shirt today. Dank Pack, of course, affiliates of Fields of Green for All. Remember, Premium affiliates. They support us in more ways than you can ever imagine. And remember to always support those who support Fields of Green for All. And we have Dan in his Marombeiros t-shirt that comes all the way from Brazil.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. It's always been a favorite of mine. It's such a happy t-shirt. I love the aeroplane. It looks like
a cool story behind it. What they were, that they were international smugglers of the highest caliber, and then they actually turned their smuggling empire into a brand that they now sell merch for. Can you believe it?
So they've got the narco trafficking plane and everything there, and the ship. With a hull full of coke and whatever. Dale looking awfully smart in a leafy collared shirt. Dale's going to be showing us some particularly interesting purple weed tonight on the Dank Cam. And of course, Joe, our marvellous, amazing executive producer of the Hotbox Show.
And also with my Dank Packs.
And also with her Dank Packs.
Which also has BioLeaf on, which is another premium affiliate. We're lucky we've got 3.
And we are going to be speaking all about the expo. Of course, you can find Fields of Green for All at the Dank Pack stand. We are sharing with our amazing friends, Ryan and Ash and Nico and the boys. So please come and visit us at the expo, but a little bit more of that later. And for me, I've just got my favorite Dick Heroic shirt on. I really do like it because it always turns heads. It has no effect if you're overseas, just by the way.
Yeah, it just looks sporty.
Yeah.
So
let's see. We were talking about this purple weed, and then
should we do the poll first?
Oh, we should do the poll first. Okay, we should.
And maybe this time, maybe this week, if you're good, if you're really nice, we'll give you the results at the end of the show.
No, we forgot last week.
If we're good and we don't get too stoned.
I'll post it later.
It was that moonstick that really slapped us.
It was. Jeez, I love those moonsticks. I really, really do. So, the poll, as you can see up on your screen, please vote on Facebook or on YouTube, as YouTube have reintroduced the polls. So, it's actually relating to an article that we're going to be speaking about a bit later. But do you think that Sahpra are corrupt?
Corrupt.
Yes? Maybe? No. So first option is yes, second option is maybe, third option is no. Sahpra, the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority, and somewhat of a thorn in our sides as they have captured South African cannabis. So please vote and we'll give you the results. We promise that
we made a note of it this time.
I think it's hard to say they as an entity are corrupt. I think the laws are definitely corrupt.
There's corrupt elements within the entity.
That's unfortunate. We can't sit. I mean, I don't think it's possible for anyone in South Africa to actually believe that they aren't.
Exactly.
Every department in our governmental organisation, in the whole of our government, is corrupt in some way or form or another because it's ingrained in the highest level to be corrupt. They are.
So do we all think Sahpra are corrupt?
Yes, we do.
Unfortunately, it's just because that it's like. It's because that's what we know as South Africans. That corruption is in our government, and that is the end of story. There's no fairness and truth behind any of our corrupt.
I've had enough phone calls from people telling me what the license process is like to go through, and how many people didn't get it, and how many people were messed around.
Even just
So-
the fact of them being able to give people licenses is a corrupt
Yeah,
thing.
licenses are corrupt
Yes, it is.
out of the nature.
And who
That's
gave
just-
them the right? Because the government didn't mandate anyone
Yeah,
to
which
build
guard
cannabis
gave them the permission to control?
There's never been
The
any
plant.
laws enacted giving people their various mandates in the cannabis industry. And the one thing that one must never ever forget about Sahpra is they are not a government department. They are a private company. So who is paying? I mean, there's all sorts of lawsuits going on at the moment. Who's paying Sahpra's legal bills? I wonder who's paying it. Because at PTY Limited, I doubt they've got the funds for the millions and millions it takes to challenge all of these things in court. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something of a
Well,
bit of a
they're bringing
crossover.
in millions and millions with their overpriced unicorn licenses anyway.
Yeah. But you know what? We don't want to influence your decision on the
That's
poll. We really don't. So you tell us what you think, and we'll tell you at the end of the show. So now it just so happens that this week we've got another iteration of the Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill, and the amendments in the bill, because every time they send us the amendments and they put the amendments in a different color, and this time the amendments in the bill were written in purple. Okay, so we decided to choose some purple weed for the Rand Camp tonight, and then Charles very generously provided us with some pink cones, and the pink cones are called Lady Hornet. So let's have a look at our pink cones and our purple weed to go with the Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill. So we'll bring up the dank cam.
It's pandemonium. Lady Hornet
There you
is
go.
on Instagram.
They retail at approximately $89.90.
Approximately.
It's a very good deal compared to raw or hemp pre-rolls, and I found it in Alberton.
Of all places.
Yeah, go to Ekurhuleni.
It's
So they are from the brand Hornets, right?
it's
Because Hornets
it's
have been
pretty.
known.
Look at the pretty filter.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a
not
nice
FDA
clean thing.
approved. They seem to be all natural, but I just wonder about the pink coloring, what they use
Yeah,
for that.
because I looked everywhere in the box and there's no ingredients list, and
Yeah.
there can only be so many ways to dye paper, right?
Hopefully it's beetroot.
Yeah, let's hope so. So then the purple weed to go with the Purposes Bill is
It's called
the
Putang, also a
dank
bee.
cam back. It is called Putang, and it was grown by Brave Seed, and the extract made from this particularly beautiful color cannabis was one of our entrants in the Amber Cup week before last. So it's a strain name that we're getting quite used to.
I mean, for me, it's quite surprising because it's not exactly a highly resinous plant that you would expect.
Wow,
to,
what did you put in the cone?
I put
Something
in a-
different. What else?
Put
What,
something
that's-
different in the
that's-
cone.
what else have we
Yeah.
got there? Yeah.
So we looked at the purple weed and it doesn't really have too many trichomes. So we decided we'd prefer a few more trichomes. So Dan brought us something really tasty. So we've mixed that with purple weed. We put it into the pink rollie, and that's what we're gonna smoke on the show tonight.
Yeah.
So,
You're gonna put
thanks
this
very
out
much.
away. We're done with it, hey?
Yeah.
It doesn't taste
Yeah.
horrible, you know.
No.
I remember
paper.
I remember there was a green paper, and there's also that transparent paper, and they both taste quite horrible.
No, it
They
doesn't
do.
taste bad. and
I
it's
don't
quite
like
thin.
that transparent paper either.
No, the glass
like
paper, it's
plastic.
impossible to roll with because it's so slippery. We actually tried last week at home, and it was
Was it because you had no blades?
no, the youngest, who is over the age of 18, he likes rolling us evening joints, and he likes getting creative. And you saw them in the cabinet because
Does he make aeroplanes and stuff? Not that creative.
Not that creative yet, but he likes playing with dab and keef and a bit of hash and things like that. So he likes to play games with our minds at night.
Very cool.
But he didn't like the glass one. He said it was impossible to roll with. It just there's no grip.
And there's no slide.
Yeah.
Mm.
So great, we're getting our THC levels up, and just to give you a little bit of news from the Fields of Green for All team, we've had a phenomenally busy week, as I said at the beginning of the show, and one of the first things that I want to mention is that next Tuesday at UCT we are having a civil society gathering. If you are in Cape Town and you would like to come, please let us know and we'll send you an invite. The invite has gone out on our various groups, and you can also look on the Fields of Green for All blog where we sent you the invite. There's actually 2 different events happening in Cape Town. On Monday, Cannabis Africana, which is a project that is being run by the University of Cape Town and the University of Bristol's criminology department, all about cannabis in Africa from an academic point of view. On Monday, there is a workshop. It's as I said, a little bit more on the academic side. If you would like to come, you need to register for that. So check out our blog. There's a link there to register. It's completely free. And then on Tuesday evening at UCT, we have the social activism event. And we would really, really like a nice turnout because we would like to introduce the activists to the Cannabis Africana project. So, so that we can spread the net, as it were. You know, it was the project that sent me to Nigeria a couple of weeks ago, and our entire panel, save for Maria Goretti, who's from Ghana, Ediomo from Nigeria, and Clemens, who's originally from Zimbabwe, plus Gernot from Bristol, they're all going to be there. And together with Simon Howell, who is our criminologist expert for the trial of the plant. So
Not
really,
the guy from So You Think You Can Sing, or whatever that program's called.
No.
No, not that
No.
Simon Howell.
No, that's Simon
Cowell.
Cowell, oh,
Yeah,
I'm stoned
no,
already.
Simon
This is
Howell.
good weed. Would you like some?
Yes, please. So if you're in Cape Town, please check out the Fields of Green for All blog. The invite is there, the address and the times and everything. Both events are free. So I am going to be down there. So it would be a nice opportunity to connect with everybody in Cape Town. I know that Nati Ferreira has been sending invites to people. I'm hoping that Juanita Booley is going to be there. I know that Nick Heineman and Neil Webster, Tony Budden, Gareth Prince will all be at the social activism event on Tuesday evening. So please come and share a snack and a chat with us. It's not going to be a whole program of speakers or anything like that. It's basically an introduction to the project and a bit of update from Fields of Green, and most of all a discussion about the current state of cannabis in South Africa, because it really is pretty depressing
It's
at
dismal.
the moment. It really is pretty depressing.
I must say.
I must say that
Makes
I
me
can't.
purple with sadness.
Yeah, thanks so much to Amy and Charles, who've been going through the latest iterations of the bill that came in on Tuesday. None of us were invited to the parliamentary sessions. They weren't broadcast. I haven't seen them on YouTube. Have you seen them on YouTube, Charles?
I watched part of it, yeah, but
You watched part of it.
once again, they didn't really announce it. Nobody was really warned in advance. We weren't
Exactly.
invited to participate as civil society this time.
No, there was no participation.
So yeah, as always, it was last minute and confusing.
Yeah. But thanks anyway for reading it, and
Trying to, yeah.
and thanks to Amy as well. I know that she also read it. We've got such a big weekend coming up with the expo that I actually couldn't bring myself to read it because I thought I get so depressed. I'm going to go into my bedroom and close the door, you know.
Yeah.
So I haven't read it, but Charles thankfully made us the most amazing infographic, which we'd like to show to you now. Thanks, Techie Team. And hello, Ross.
And
Ross
there was
Warren is on the.
somebody there that said hi, John. John said hi, Joe. It's Steve. So John, hi, Steve.
John, Steve.
So Charles went through the Cannabis for Private Purposes bill and made us this infographic about the offences, just the offences relating to the bill and what will happen in various circumstances. So if we can see there, Fields of Green for All infographic, if you can just scroll up, there you go. So in a private space, okay, which they haven't defined for us what a private space is, okay, you are now allowed, now please don't take
This
this.
is not.
As law.
This is not
It's
law.
proposed legislation.
It's
It's not
proposed-
through the House.
Say that 3 times because
Let's
they-
repeat ourselves.
Yeah, it's
Dale.
proposed.
Do not take this seriously at all. It is proposed
Yes.
draft.
It's
bill.
not
Do not take it
Dan.
seriously.
Yeah.
Please do not
It's
take
just
this
somebody's
seriously.
mad, crazy idea.
Joe, what do you say?
This is a movie, guys. South
No,
Africa
it's
is
a
a movie.
fantasy.
None of it is real.
This is what they
What I'm
propose.
saying is, what am I going to do with 4 plants? What am I going to do with 4
Yeah, I know.
plants? So this is proposed. This is not law. There should be no amounts. 4 plants for 1 person, 8 for 2 or more people, 600 grams for one person. So 2 or more people could be 8 for 2 or more people. So that could be 8 plants for 20 people, couldn't it?
Yeah, if you live in a
600
commune.
grams for one
It's
person.
going to take you a whole life to build your house if you can only have 600 grams
Exactly.
at a time.
Plus 1.2 kgs for 2 or more adults.
And here's the thing
Okay.
on top of that, 1.2 per adult, but you're only allowed to grow 4 plants. 4
Yeah.
plants that equal 1.2
1.2,
1.2 kilos.
So they must
You better
be
grow some
bonsai.
huge, big.
So they went to,
Yeah. So the penalties are a fine or 2 years locked up in a cage. And don't you love Charles' little dabbing unicorn there?
So also
Okay.
it's important to note the word human rights doesn't appear at all. And the word offences occurs 13 times.
Shows you what color the
Yeah.
heart is of the person.
This, yeah, the
Okay.
prohibitionists made this.
So to exchange, you are allowed to exchange, we are allowed to exchange between us 30 seeds or seedlings. 30 seeds, okay, of which 27 are male. Okay, one flowering plant. So the next time anybody comes here, we often get given plants and clones and seeds. We've got to say, no, stop at the gate. You are not allowed to bring in more than 1 plant or 30 seeds. Let's count them.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's a teaspoon of
Yes,
seed.
let's find a Sahpra
Yeah.
representative to come down to the gate to count the seeds for us.
Exactly.
This really makes the hemp seed in Discount problematic because you can buy 500 grams for about 80 rand.
Yes.
Yeah. 100 grams of dry cannabis. The penalties of a maximum jail term of 15 years for anyone who deals in cannabis or provides it to a minor or a child. Provides, not sells it. So parents, are you listening? If you want to provide your child with cannabis, doesn't matter whether it's CBD, THC, whatever it is, doesn't matter if your child is dying of cancer, doesn't matter if your child has serious epilepsy, you are not allowed to and you're facing 15 years in jail. The offence is any person who exceeds the possession or limits in private or public is a fine of 2 years in prison. Scrolling up.
I have an issue with the word deal when quite clearly we should be using the word trade.
Exactly. Smoking in public or in front of a non-consenting adult or a child. You may be jailed for up to 2 years or 4 if it's in front of a child. Now, don't you drink your beer in front of a child now. Dan, you are not allowed to open
smoke your
a beer in
cigarette.
front of a child.
Yes. Also,
Okay.
not smoking cigarettes in front of non-consenting
Yeah.
adults. I don't.
Exactly.
Christmas
I don't
in South
smoke
Africa
cigarettes, but
about
I'm
to
not
be
going to turn around and tell
lit.
anyone that they can't smoke a cigarette that they can't smoke a cigarette.
Exactly.
And who are you going to tell me that I can't smoke a cigarette standing 2 meters in front of you?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
So I'm offended by what you think of me, so now I'm going to say you can't smoke in front of me and then you can go to
Yes.
prison for that.
there you go.
Exactly. So also, if you're at a party and somebody's smoking a spliff over there, you can phone the cops and say this person's smoking a spliff
I'm
near me,
offended. You can
and
be Karen.
I don't consent.
Yeah, I don't
You
consent.
know, have you ever heard such bullshit? Anyway, dealing and providing cannabis for a child. What about the children? What about the children? Maximum of 15 years in prison, ladies and gentlemen. End of infographic. I'm irritated.
Yeah, no, let's move on.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
good time to play Myrtle's Rant.
So, as a result of this bill business, we had a nice week in the media too. So thank you very much to John Perlman from the Afternoon Drive Show on 702 and his producer Jonathan, who called me for a nice little, very short chat. And he was also incredulous, on the radio. He was incredulous that the president's been speaking about this for years and nothing has happened. And then thank you very much to ENCA as well, for Dan Moyeni, for giving us a call in a Zoom session yesterday afternoon. If you follow Fields of Green for All or at Dacha Couple on any of our social media, you'll find both of those interviews there. And here at Fields of Green for All, if you've got media buddies, as our honoured guest there in the corner said earlier, we're all a bit of media whores. We have to keep this cannabis thing in the media all the time. And more about that later, because right now we've got Myrtle's Rant. Welcome to another edition of Myrtle's Rant. Wow, what a week it's been. If anything, this cannabis activism business is not for sissies, and also never ever boring, because we never know what's going to happen next. And most certainly what we didn't expect this week was that Parliament were were considering the Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill again. That is the Committee of the Department of Justice and Correctional Services. I can confirm that nobody on what we call the big list was notified of this. I don't know whether they've given up notifying us because we continue to reject the bill outright. So actually yesterday we got the circulation of the amendments on the bill. We got them on our WhatsApp groups, so not sure if it was emailed out to everybody, but I must just go and check in my spam folder, maybe it's there, because that's where it belongs, really, Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill. So they put all of the amendments in purple this time. I suppose having some sort of royal decree that they are going to decide, that committee of people are going to decide our fate. And I must admit that I don't have the heart to read it because we've got a big weekend coming ahead of us with this Cannabis Expo, and I need to keep my spirits up. I need to keep some form of hope alive in this really, really trying times. So I'm not going to read it until after the weekend. But our trusty crew, Joe and Charles and Amy, they have all read bits or the whole of it. And it seems, just to summarize, that for the various things that were in abeyance, they had 3 different options, and the committee had to vote on these 3 different options. And the committee were given about a day and a half to vote on them. And a whole lot of the members of the committee came back and said, but we don't have enough insight or knowledge to actually even vote on these. So without truthfully giving you any insight, because I haven't read it yet, Fields of Green for All, myself personally, myself in the memory of Jules, we continue to reject the Cannabis Bill outright. So that really is my rant today.
Okay, so we have in the studio with us Nico Voroboyov. Is that the right way to say it?
Let's not get into that part. I'll give you 3 stars for effort.
Okay, so you traveled to us all the way from Russia, but you didn't come straight from there. You went to some other countries first as well.
Yeah, I haven't been on Russian territory since March because of certain events which you might have heard about on the news.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to go back because you might get conscripted, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of reasons I don't want to go back, but yeah, one of them is I don't want to fight in Ukraine, for someone else's imperial ambitions. In theory, I'm not eligible for the draft because I don't have any military experience, but in practice, there's a story where like I think she was 22 or 24-year-old Vietnamese woman who just got a Russian passport 2 years ago. She got the draft notice, even though women aren't supposed to be conscripted yet, especially not Vietnamese women who've been in the country for 2 years.
So there's a risk.
Yeah.
So can you just quickly tell us in a paragraph or 2 about yourself? You used to be in the UK where you sold illegal substances to people, and did you get into trouble for that?
Yeah, I was a bit of a naughty boy back in Blighty. I just got caught in just the dumbest way possible.
Okay.
Sniffing, I kept telling my customers, there are dogs in the tube, like police dogs. Don't take anything on the tube. The tube is like the metro.
The UK is a very difficult country to deal drugs in. It's really like one of the countries where they can react in very harsh ways, even for cannabis, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say that the UK is especially harsh by world standards, but I will say that we've definitely been going backwards over the past 20, 30 years. So, for example, sometime in the early 2000s, the government, they kind of chilled out a bit. They made cannabis a Class C drug, which is it's on the level of steroids or like medicines if you didn't have the prescription. It wasn't a serious thing. And then there was this big panic in the media, in the tabloids mainly, about skunk. So
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what regardless of what the evidence was, I think David Nutt, who we talked about earlier, he said about this. Regardless of what the evidence was, obviously like the government's got to appease the voters or like a certain segment of their voters, and they made Class B again. So yeah, now you can face years in prison for possession in theory. In practice, unlikely. But
Not so much.
yeah. So yeah, we've been regressing.
Yeah, you came to South Africa this late last night from Afghanistan, and was this your first time there?
Yeah, I've been on the Afghan border before in Tajikistan around, but the first time in Afghanistan proper. Yeah.
They say that Afghanistan is the birthplace of cannabis, and I saw an article that you wrote for Vice magazine on plant-based drugs in Afghanistan. Can you tell us more about that? Is that cannabis?
All right, so there's a couple. So obviously, like cannabis is the one I'm on this show for. But then we've also got the opium poppy, and recently they found a way to collect some wild shrubs in the mountain, ephedra shrubs, and make crystal meth out of them. So plant-based vegan crystal meth.
Look, I mean, all chemical substances came from a plant compound at some point. It's just been synthesized now, right? So
Yeah.
it's technically the original recipe, if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
So it's something that has the same effect as crystal meth.
No, it is methamphetamine.
It is methamphetamine.
Yeah.
From a
Okay,
plant.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So do they synthesize it with chemicals?
Yeah, well, first of all, you hire a bunch of like peasant shepherd boys to scour the mountains for these, because you need a lot of them. The reason why we synthesize instead of spending all day in the mountains gathering shrubs is because it's a lot of work. It's just easier to just get some chemicals from China.
Okay. And the cannabis?
Yeah,
Wow.
so this year I've been traveling to different countries, checking out the local specifically cannabis and hash scene there. So I've tried Moroccan, Lebanese, and Afghani, and between them, Afghani is the one that blew my head off the most.
Is it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of the plants,
In terms of the potency of the hash.
potency of the hash.
Yeah, like Moroccan hash, like it's not the best, but like, it's so popular in Europe because it's just across the sea. They just gotta get a speedboat,
Yes.
like half an hour and it's done. Whereas Afghani hash, Afghanistan's in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to get to the big markets, so Europe, America, it's got to travel a long way.
So you obviously had privilege of, well, did you have privilege going to see it being made, or were you in field?
Yeah, they showed me the whole process. How they first you need like a shitload of plants. They took me to this big tent, and I was thinking, that scene in Jurassic Park with the big pile of dinosaur do.
Yeah.
Is this a legacy process, something they've been doing for a long time?
Yeah,
Like
so
part of their culture?
yeah, so it's been in hash has been in Afghani culture for hundreds of years. There's a legend of a Sufi saint. Sufi is like a type of Islam called Baba Kul, and he's like the one who supposedly introduced hash to Afghanistan, but nobody really knows what the true story is.
Okay.
So
You're saying about the process, how the big pile of poo.
Yeah, so they have this big pile, then they bash it with sticks or they stamp on it to kind of grind it down to sort of powder. Then they throw this powder over a sieve, and they do this a couple more times until eventually like you have the more sieved it is, like the more concentrated it is. And if they didn't waste the plant either. If they get the stalks and they make little tubes out of them. So one way of smoking, like when you don't have a bong, you don't have papers, you have nothing. You just put the hash on top of like some burning embers, and you get the stalk and you suck it up like a pipe.
Like hot knives.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Like
We're
we
talking
used to
about
do
some
hot
Muslim hippies right here.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And the hash, is it very dark and very?
Yeah, the most potent stuff, the Afghani black. Yeah, that's very dark. It's very oily. It's got cannabis oil sticking it together. That's why it's sometimes called like sticky Afghan.
Sticky Afghan. Okay. And does anybody smoke flour?
flower, no, I haven't seen it.
No.
It's
Okay.
purely a hash country.
All of
Really?
their. Oh, okay. Very interesting.
That whole region, even if you look all the way through Jordan, Israel, even as far as Israel, it's predominantly hash.
So you don't find much flour. That's really interesting.
And hash is actually much cheaper than the flour.
Yeah.
If
And did you see the? You obviously saw the fields of the flower growing.
No,
No.
because I only arrived like a couple of weeks ago, so it's
Yeah.
already like the harvest season had just passed.
Ah, of course,
that
yeah, because
just
they got the
finished.
same, same harvest.
But literally like a few days before, so they still had the plants all fresh. They were still working with the plants.
Yeah.
But I saw some fields, but they're all just empty, barren male plants because they didn't use the male plants,
Okay.
just the females.
Okay, but they don't pull the males out because they don't care if it's pollinated.
Yeah, you just see them there dead and withered,
Oh, I see.
like the
Okay.
zombie movie.
Okay. And you know, you have that stereotype of the Afghan weed being so-called. We don't really believe in indica and sativa, but are they indica-looking plants with big fat leaves?
And short. They
Short,
must be short.
fat.
No, they're from what I've seen, like they can grow pretty big. I'm not sure which which seed they use, but they said they have two different kinds. They have one which grows really tall and one which grows really wide.
Okay. Okay.
But they, since being like illiterate farmers, they couldn't tell me exactly like what kind
What
of
is-
strain it was.
yeah.
For them, it was just seeds.
Because Afghanistan also is quite a huge country, right? So
Yeah.
there is a sort of a desert region, the picture that we all have of Afghanistan, and then there's the mountainous regions as well that are quite lush and cold.
Okay.
So there you'd probably have your shorter, thicker, indica-looking plants.
Yeah, or maybe it's like the Highveld, because cannabis loves it up here, but doesn't particularly like the Western Cape.
Yeah.
Because there the soils are very sandy,
Oh,
and it's mainly
awful.
very not very high above sea level. So I suppose the altitude really helps that, and also with trichome production.
Yeah, and there's so much wind in Cape Town. The plants don't like that. So, cannabis in your life, can you tell us in the UK when were you selling it to people?
Yeah, so my main product was weed. I had a couple of other things as well, but weed was the big one because like everybody smokes weed.
Yeah.
When you get down to other things, it's more of like a niche clientele.
And how long did you do this for, and what then eventually happened to you that made you change your mind, and how did you end up then in journalism?
So when I got caught on the tube, very stupidly,
Oh, tube.
on the metro, then I got
By the police?
2.5 years in Her Majesty's Palace, HMP, and that's it all started then because I was writing a lot of letters to my friends on the outside, and because I was studying at university then, it's like most of my friends are kind of like middle class educated, so they didn't really have as much experience of the justice system. So they just thought I needed to die, so they just thought it was just like funny kind of the observations I was making. And yeah, just kind of writing letters is what got me into writing. Had a couple articles published, and yeah, here we are.
Okay, good. And then you're making a living off that.
And what do you work? Do you work as a freelancer? Is writing for Vice a full-time thing, or do you write the articles and then you sell them to whoever, or how does it work?
Yeah, I like waking up when I want in the morning. So,
Exactly. You're not dancing to anybody else's tune. So you're a freelance journalist, essentially.
yeah, I like what I do. You know, if I hadn't gone to prison, I wouldn't have had this job. I probably would have had like some other kind of boring 9 to 5 like everyone else, and I'm not a 9 to 5 guy.
So you don't
No,
have
exactly.
regrets?
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
mean,
No.
even though, yeah, it did cause a lot of pain for me and my family at that time. You know, it's made me who I am today.
You learned a lot from the experience.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this really great quote today, and it said, "The opposite of courage is not cowardice; it is conformity. Even a dead fish can go with the flow."
Yeah.
And I like that one today.
Yeah, that's a
so
good
thank you
one.
to my dear friend Aideen Griffin in Ireland. She posted that on her Facebook, and I think that's the thing with this crazy cannabis world of ours, is we're non-conformists. We all see the world with slightly different eyes. I mean, do you see the cannabis as a teacher plant? Do you how instrumental has cannabis been in making you the person that you are?
I mean, I'll say one thing: cannabis is not a gateway drug because I did all the hard stuff before I had weed.
Ah, yes, you see, there's evidence, ladies and gentlemen. Your Honor, there is the evidence. Exactly.
And that's proof against the justice system that arresting someone for cannabis doesn't change a thing, because we know so many people who've come out of jail and their bond with the cannabis plants is actually even stronger.
Yeah.
And they're never going to stop smoking weed. So why did that prison sentence actually help anybody?
Or what about people who are of my generation? I was just telling Nico today around the stoop table that, you know, I when I was at school, we knew that all the guys in my matric class, that they were all either going to go to university or they're going straight off to the army, something which Nico is possibly facing in Russia, because it seems to be quite arbitrary, this conscription. So all of our young white males were conscripted into the army, and the amount of people of my generation, particularly men, who smoke weed because they started in the army as a stress reduction measure. And I mean, if you didn't smoke weed in the army, imagine you were fighting that border war in Angola.
And afterwards for post-traumatic stress.
And so it should be. And here's talking about PTSD as a shout out. The other day was Veterans Day in America. So you know that the Veterans Action Council, the VAC, are international affiliates at Fields of Green for All. So we really do hold out for the veterans of the world. And unfortunately, we have this war in Ukraine that is creating a whole lot new veterans. And Michael Kravitz, who's a member of our team, he lives in Roanoke in Virginia, he's a veteran of the war in Guam, of all places. Do you even know where Guam is? So I think when we look at this, on the one hand, there's this amazing, really interesting stories about rural Afghanistan, and then on the other side is cannabis used for PTSD and a very 21st century war. So it's really, really interesting having you in the studio today.
It's I'm glad you brought up Ukraine, because I've heard there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of talk that because of the war, because they have so many injured veterans now, Ukraine's thinking about legalizing marijuana medically.
There you go.
Good news.
Yeah. And we've met the Ukrainian activist at the UN in Vienna, Pyotr. I don't think he'll be watching this, but he's from Kiev, and apparently he's fine. I've heard on the he's been in Kiev all along. And he certainly is a drug policy activist of note. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with weed in Ukraine.
How's the weed that side in Russia and Ukraine? Is it good? Because I mean, we hear about many other countries.
Yeah.
But we don't usually hear about
Easy
the
to
weed.
get, and what's it like?
I haven't been to Ukraine, but I've heard that the scene is very similar. So, no, right, like in theory, like having a small amount that just for yourself, I think it's up to like 6 grams. It's basically decriminalized. It's an administrative offense, and there's actually been a study like looking into the arrest stats on this. The most common amount of drugs the police find on someone in the arrest is just enough to start a criminal case.
So they're frame people.
Yeah, they're asking them for an on-the-spot fine, as it were, and because of that, there's no like open drug scene in Russia. There's no like area, like no neighborhood where you can go. They used to be in the 90s, not anymore. So what happened now is everything's gone online.
Yeah.
And
WhatsApp, Telegram.
Yeah, Telegram, and also the dark web.
Yeah.
And because there's no hand-to-hand transactions and the postal system in Russia is shit, they basically, you send over the crypto, and then they give you like on the GPS coordinates on Google Maps where to find it. So it's basically like, you know, kind of like a Pokemon Go for drugs.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun, actually.
Or like we used to do geocaching in the early days of satellite tracking or whatever
so
called it.
they never see the person they're buying from ever.
And is the weed good?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the quality like?
Yeah, we've got, because there's a lot of indoor grows now in Russia. We also have a lot of the Afghani hash. There was a big hash shortage on the dark web a couple of years ago when COVID struck.
Can you grow outdoor?
You can in some areas, yeah, like seasonally in the summer.
Russia's very big, I suppose. Climate varies quite.
There's quite a few areas where weed just grows naturally, but it's more like hempy weed. It's like very low.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruderalis.
It's in the hemp belt.
It is.
It's very much deep in the hemp belt.
Sure.
And industrial cannabis, hemp, is that legal in Russia? Is it an industry? Because, I mean, surely it comes from there. All those northern bits.
What's funny is I think Russia is probably the only country in the world which actually has a monument to cannabis.
Wow.
There's an area called VDNH in Moscow. It's got a lot of like old Soviet statues there, and one of them is a monument. I think it's like some monument to the farmers of the USSR, and it's got like a full blown like cannabis plant on it. It's hemp.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, like almost everything apart from industrial hemp is very illegal in Russia.
Okay.
Even like there's a law called narco propaganda. There was these famous kind of like anti-gay propaganda laws a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So basically anti-narco propaganda, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you've even had people getting fined for having a little cannabis leaf on their baseball cap.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I remember
media
reading about
restrictions.
that.
Yeah.
I remember reading about that a while ago. Wow.
So, Nico, there's a lot of information about you on the net. Can you tell our viewers where they can find your articles to read? I know that on YouTube there's some other interviews with you for people that want to know more, because you've got so many stories. I've watched some of them, and there's too many to fit in one of our episodes.
Yeah, I've written a book. It's called Dope World. You can find it anywhere books are sold, really.
Dope World.
Dope World.
Yeah.
Are we going to have to get a copy for you to sign before for our dope library?
Yes, our bookshelf.
So I'm sure that if you just search Dope World, you would, you'll come up.
Or
with,
folks can read your articles on the Vice website, right?
Yeah, I'm on Vice. I'm also doing a lot of work on for Al Jazeera lately, and also The Independent in the UK.
Yeah, Al Jazeera is a good station, and they're quite neutral when it comes to news, yeah?
Yeah. And also, Nico's going to be joining me at the Cannabis Expo on Saturday afternoon, so maybe you'll be lucky enough to get a selfie with a famous journalist.
A famous international journalist.
Yeah.
Cool, there it is there.
So,
Locally available.
So as everybody knows, it's the Cannabis Expo this weekend, and we are very excited to be giving away a ticket.
Yeah,
Isn't that
so
nice?
we've got CBDNN now, right?
Yeah. So, we have some local news.
CBDNN.
I absolutely promise the techies. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Nick, for being behind the desk tonight. It was really nice to have our new tech team, as Boom was unavailable. He's too busy working tonight. So I promised them that I would give them the cue to do the little thing for our new section, which is called CBDNN. And this weekend we've got the Cannabis Expo coming up, and we've got a ticket giveaway. Joe is going to tell us from the corner over there about the ticket giveaway.
Yeah, you have to come to win it, right, Joe?
So there's rules to this ticket giveaway. You need to be able to actually attend the expo on one of the days, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's one ticket, it's a day pass, and it is being given away by Energy Wise. So they normally supply directly to retailers. But what they've done is they've come up with a new product, and they are, for the very first time, launching this product and making it available to the public directly. So all I need you to do in the comments, now that the troll's been removed, thanks Lilio, is go onto either their Facebook or their Instagram and quickly have a look, see what's their new product called, and the first person you can tell me in the comments will win that ticket. And just for follow-up, we're going to need like email addresses and full names and stuff, so like,
You must be able to make it to Sandton on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to redeem your ticket. And Energy Wise make lights.
Energy Wise make lights. They've been in the agricultural sector long before the cannabis sector became formalized, shall we say.
Great.
So he drove up from Durban. They left stupid hours this morning. It's his first expo.
Okay.
Jonas is very excited, and in fact even wave at him because I know he's watching the show right now.
Thank you, Energy Wise, for giving us that ticket. And of course, Fields of Green for All will be sharing a stall with Dank Pack. Yay! We love
the
Dank
speed
Pack.
rolling competition.
And then there is also Walter from Arp Truck, and I have been chatting and conspiring because everybody loves Arp Truck's rolling competition. So we told you, Nico, hey, what Arp Truck means, hey?
Right.
Yeah, do you remember?
Monkey tobacco, right?
Yes.
Monkey
yes.
tobacco, yeah.
So can you roll? Are you going to take part? How fast can you roll?
It's about
I can't roll, that's why I buy these things.
I'll be honest with you guys. I only learned how to roll this year
Okay.
in
Wow.
Morocco from a Finnish backpacker. 'Cause
Okay.
before that, even though I sold weed, I'd never smoked weed on my own.
Okay.
So,
So you always wait for somebody else to roll.
right, I always just happened to be with people who can. Like I lived with people I sold weed to, so they were always around, you know.
Yeah. So you slipped through the cracks.
Yeah,
Charles also.
lucky.
Charles, but you don't roll too bad.
No, I can roll. I don't enjoy it so much.
But can you roll in under a minute? Does anybody
No.
know what's Arp Truck's
No,
record?
speed
It's
rolling is not
incredibly
my thing.
fast. It's like
three-
seconds.
It's
Yeah,
under 10.
3.2, somewhere around there.
Seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I rolled
3 or 4
against him
seconds.
at Mary Jane's Hacienda. They were there for one of the events that I went to, and I rolled against Optwak there, and it took me like 7 times longer than him.
Yeah, he needs to
I'm
come and
not going
show
to
us
embarrass
again.
myself.
He needs to come and show us again. I
I've
think you
tried
hold
and
the
I fumbled
paper.
hard.
Did you?
hold the paper and then
Performance
they stop.
anxiety.
It's like when you're at home, you can roll it around really fast, like just throw it in, But when you're standing there and you're on that table and the timer goes,
And the heat
all of a
is on.
sudden you're like, oh shit. But also, I must say that rolling with that shitty stuff that's there is not the same.
Yeah, he doesn't use
Not
the
alcohol,
same
it's
as
a
weed.
slightly different.
Does he use like
consistency.
Lifolo or
Yes.
I think
something?
it's Lifolo.
It is Lifolo,
Lifolo's
yeah.
partnered with him to do
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So
Unfortunately.
shout out to Lifolo as well, although we don't really like rolling your product. It is a very good product as...
I must say, I recently had Lifolo Mix C. I don't know if it's available yet,
I like
but it was
Lifolo.
amazing mix. It was so delicious. It had this flavor.
I'm
know
going to
what's
use
in there.
Lifolo to get off nicotine, actually.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can, because the herbs they use are also stimulants and plants that do something. They're not just filler.
Okay. Well, you can also catch Lifolo, our affiliate, at the expo, and we hope that by the end of the expo, there's going to be lots more Fields of Green for All affiliates. If you have a relationship with the cannabis plant, it really would be the right thing to do, to join either the Green Network at 49 Rand a month, or for your company to become an affiliate of Fields of Green for All. We even have a special private space coming up for private cannabis social clubs to also become affiliates of Fields of Green. We do have a few ready, waiting in the wings for our new page to happen. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the expo. It's going to be a crazy, busy, tiring 3 days. And if you like to catch me on the stage, I will be speaking as the last speaker of the day on Saturday. So don't get too stoned before 7:30 in the evening. They've given me an extra 10 minutes, and I'm really looking forward to telling everybody, myself and my legal team's thoughts on the concept of Ubuntu in the cannabis industry. And Ubuntu, of course, is an ancient African word that means I am who I am because of you. And we really, really need a good dose of Ubuntu in the cannabis industry. So if you'd like to hear our thoughts, please join me in the main stage area at 7:30 on Saturday night. And I'm sure that'll be loads of fun. And what was loads of fun and what we've got for you as a little insert right now is a video, and thank you very much to Boom, and thank you very much to Joe for the video edit. And we know that a lot of you were very, very sorry to have missed the Amber Cup Saturday before last. We now have a little video to show you what you missed. to thank my amazing, and now I'm getting emotional, Jazz Farm and Fields of Green for All team for standing by me. I love you all so much. We made it. Sure, what with going to Nigeria, what with, having no money, whatever. We pulled it off, folks. Didn't we? Yeah. I have a very special thank you to all of the entrants. You guys went above and beyond. I think that there were a lot of people here today who have seen the ugly arm of the law and who really get this point that we have to get this job right. And there were quite a lot of people in the room today who've smelt the inside of a police cell. Yeah, and it makes all the difference for our activism. I think everybody's had a really great time, and there's been an incredibly high standard. I think that more importantly than the THC content, okay, is the information that is supplied by the exhibitor, because there were very many dab virgins here today, and I've been chatting to people and they've said that the information has been impeccable, incredibly informative. So as you know, the voting was across 5 categories, so that it wasn't only about the effect and it wasn't only about the high THC. So I am extremely proud to announce in 3rd place, Cookie Man Bakery! We're going to do this like handover thing. 2nd place, we have the beautiful boys from Marijuana SA! Close. I just want to cry. Dan!
Thank you.
And it just so happened that Dan's was the highest THC.
Thank you.
Then I'd just like to thank every single one of you for coming here and judging and having fun. And I'd just like to wish my Jules a happy 17th anniversary today. I love you!
Only way you're going to uplift this economy is to unleash the plant. For everybody. Not hemp, not medicine, all of it.
Yeah, we're all getting a little bit emotional here around the table. So that was fun. The Amber Cup was fun. Thanks for the little movie. It'll be on our YouTube channel. So now, tell me, there was a very, very important Daily Maverick article that came out today.
Yes, very, very interesting, actually, right. The Daily Maverick speaking about the charlatans, corruption, collusion, and exploitation in cannabis. So now, since the start of legalization, let's put it that way, or the end of prohibition in 2018, when we got our private purposes constitutional right. But the government didn't mandate anybody to start a cannabis industry or build up any sort of infrastructure surrounding this industry.
Yeah.
And so as the years went on and government did nothing about it, this industry sort of built itself up. Let's just put it that way. With all sorts of charlatans, to put it in a nice way, trying to invest, people that don't necessarily know that much about cannabis, aren't truly invested in the plants in specific ways, but are just trying to find loopholes to make an absolute killing, because of course the plant promises a lot of money.
Yeah, I liked the sharp observations of the writer of this piece. She noticed all kinds of things that we've all been noticing over the years, but that everybody doesn't always point out, especially not in public. So this piece dropped like a hot potato today, and I'm sure a lot of people are talking about it. And what's even more interesting is that it's a first of a 4-part series. So I'm very curious to see what is going to come next. You know, there's 3 more of these 20-minute reads coming. And this one was in depth. There's a lot of these charlatans around. You know, a lot of them.
I've seen lots.
And a lot of them will be at the expo tomorrow.
They just come in with they've got the money, they want to set up a facility, and
they've got the wrong approach. Their heart's in the wrong place,
well,
and
they
not
think they know
green
everything
people.
because they got the money. And when they have the money, everyone thinks that they're clever, and that doesn't
But
actually
let's
work.
not-
Yeah, it doesn't always
let's-
add up here.
Let's not
So there's people that have
let's not
wasted.
beat around the bush. There is nothing legal about trading in cannabis in South Africa.
Yeah.
We can possess it and we can consume it in our private dwelling, but we cannot trade it.
Yeah, not much has changed, and people pretend that much has changed, and it's not really the truth. What this article pointed out as well is that the situation with Sahpra being the kind of gatekeeper at the moment, and the lack of regulations that we have is festering like a wound. It's getting worse and worse, and it's already 4 years too late. You know, government had 2 years to come out with regulations, and nothing's been done. And this year, they're dragging their feet more than ever.
Well, excuse my streaming eyes from the smoke. I really recommend that everybody actually go and read this article because it really does tell it like it is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There was given, Sahpra were given a right to reply, and they did, citing the INCB, which is the International Narcotics Control Board, and giving some really dubious reasons why they are allowed to regulate cultivation, you know. So, yeah, go and read the article. It's really important.
Yeah, what also came out was a reply from Sahpra, because I think the publishers, the Daily Maverick, they contacted Sahpra and asked them for an opinion.
Yeah.
They showed it to them and said, "What have you got to say about this?"
Yeah.
And Sahpra gave a very long, very complicated explanation, which was a bit difficult for me to understand. I only read it once.
Well,
Maybe-
we're going to actually unpack that next week. So
Okay.
go and read the article, and then we're going to unpack Sahpra's reply next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm looking forward to that.
So I have to go and do something about my streaming eyes.
And we're going to have an Instagram now, right?
No, we're going to get to point 3.5. Let me jump in here.
Okay.
In Myrtle's spot for a little small section.
Information received
the
from
other
Sahpra
thing
today.
that Sahpra we found out about today, I saw Nati posted it, is that Sahpra cannabinol, CBN, right? Not THC, not CBD, CBN, has been scheduled under Schedule 6.
Yeah.
That's one of the 420 cannabinoids.
That's it. So I'm going to read it because I'm rude. You know me, I'm rude. Under the latest consolidated schedules, cannabinol was attached and will fall under Schedule 6. From a chemistry perspective, cannabinol will be included in the point. Oh God, it gets a bit.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
So basically, they've taken it to Schedule 6, which I tried to go onto the Sahpra website today to confirm this, and their website is down.
So basically, yet again, they want to legalize, yes, but small parts of the plants
lots
are
of
not legal.
nitty-gritty changes.
I mean,
Some
CBDNN
parts
is really,
little
really good
adjustments.
for stomach issues, and it's really prevalent. Am I Mr. Grower, guys? Isn't it really prevalent in our African land races?
Exactly. So if you're just growing your plants at home and it's got CBN in it, is that illegal? Is that a Schedule 6 now? So you can't have that.
Schedule
plant.
6. Well, I don't think the cops don't give a fuck when they come knocking
They're
on
not
your
going to
door.
see it. Doesn't like have a
They
little
see the
flag on
leaves, they
the
see
plant
the
saying,
flowers,
"Hey, I'm
and
this."
they
But
see.
I think
cash
more in
pollen.
terms of isolating the compounds of the plant. That
Yeah.
certain part of the plant is going to be prohibited
So,
further.
Yeah. So that was just the extra side note I wanted to add on there. So we're going to look into that a little bit better as well next week. Now we can have a look at Instagram. And
There's
Nico,
not
you're
many
gonna choose
entrants
our
this
winner.
week. We only have 3 entrants, and one of them is Tiggyzols, who we can't let win yet. So there's actually only 2 entrants.
So it's a special mention because
Yeah.
the pics are always great.
But Nico is going to choose the winner for us.
Can you make it a little bit bigger, guys?
Senpai Genetics with cherry
So that's-
geisha.
Oh wow, it looks like
I
a
don't
sunflower.
think I've seen them
That's
tagging
That's
us
Tiggy.
before, so thank you
that's Tiggy.
for the tag. Is that Tiggy?
That's Tiggy.
No, that says
No.
Senpai
Yes, I know.
Genetics.
Senpai Genetics is Tiggy.
Oh, okay.
2 weeks ago, because we tried to give him a prize and he was like, no, but it's me.
Well, he's
So
more,
rather give
more
it to
than one
somebody
profile.
else. Yes.
Then there's only one entrant, one photo. So
Which is great. So let's see what the beautiful pictures are anyway. Oh, you see, Tiggy always nails it. Dude, that's so pretty.
has he told us what camera he's using?
I no,
Or
I don't think he has.
The other two is one person. Or with this.
So Mas Keith is the winner.
Yeah, this is the only one you
You didn't
can
even
choose.
have to choose.
But we can. I'll take it back.
I'm just gonna go. I think the group has settled for Moskeith now.
Oh, fantastic.
There we go.
That's beautiful as well, eh?
Yeah, guys, really, we need entries for this. There's a really nice goodie bag that you can win every week. That we have the competition, but we've been scraping to get enough entrants.
And with the phones nowadays,
Yeah.
it's not that difficult to take a really nice shot.
Yeah, really. We had 3 entries this week, and 2 of them were the same person. We can do better than that, cannabis
When we
community.
first started this, we were having
Loads of entries, but
couldn't
they
even
took our
do them all.
hashtags away.
Yeah,
so
no,
you have to
that's the
tag us
problem.
directly. That's
You have
the
at
trick.
Hotboxshow
Yeah.
ZA. You
If
have
I
to
have-
actually tag our
us.
account.
Yeah. Tag
Yeah.
us underneath in the blurb or on the photo.
Okay, cool. I'm just waiting to see if we've got some poll results.
Oh, exciting! Yes.
So that we can actually give the poll results at the end.
Yeah, Moskeith, you have to send us your details, and we'll send you a goodie bag.
Has anybody answered the question for the ticket yet? I was checking while I was on the couch, so.
I found actually quite a lot of our people who watch our show are from Cape Town, Durban.
Yeah,
all over
there's
the
a lot
place
of-
now.
And then there was also that troll.
Again
And then
today.
there was also
Is it
that
the
song.
same one from last time?
Yeah.
Really?
Do you
How did he
think-
slip back in?
Do you
Yeah,
think
under a
Sahpra
new
is
name.
corrupt?
So I can give you the YouTube results in the meantime. We have, do you believe that Sahpra is corrupt? 0% of the people said no. And so that's great. I'm happy we're all vibing along
On
the
the
same
same-
thing.
on which one?
Because
YouTube,
it's
eh?
27
Yeah,
votes. so-
22% of the people said
Okay.
maybe.
On the fence.
Yeah, they're on the fence. They're hearing rumbles, but they haven't
I
seen
can be
any hard
convinced.
evidence,
I haven't
maybe.
read
I
the
can be
article.
convinced, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Which leaves 78% of our votes saying that it's a yes. It was a yes. So we have quite a few people voting tonight. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
That's cool.
Well, I think that's been a brilliant show.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you good?
Yeah.
I'm back from the streaming eyes.
Yee-hee.
It's
Thanks
definitely
for
the
watching.
week because Dan's eyes were also streaming just now.
Yeah.
Support me.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week, or we'll
Yeah,
see
or
you at the
tomorrow at the
expo.
expo.
We'll see you
yes.
at the expo. Do you have any sign-out vibes?
No, you're right. Sorry, Dale, did I steal yours?
I'm gonna just say smoke one for Jules.
Yeah, light one up for Jules.
Always.
Just smoke up, kids.
That's it.
I just, as per
Bye-bye,
usual,
everybody.
yeah, stay safe, choose happy. See you at the expo.
Go.
Hello, very,
Is that
very
better?
good.
Is that better?
Christmas speech.